This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 79, where we're talking about season 3 of Gotham, episode 2, Burn the Witch.
Hey, this is Drew Powell. I play Butch Gilzine on Gotham, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Yes, that was Drew Powell, and that was our intro by the wonderful Mississippi McDonald. Thank you so much for joining us for our second episode of season 3 of Gotham. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hi, I'm one of your other hosts, John.
And we're here to burn the witch.
Absolutely, and a lot of burning there was as well. This was medieval Gotham. This was 16th century Gotham.
Yeah, no pitchforks, no fire, but very close.
There were baseball bats and big hammers and planks of 4x2 or whatever, like
2x4,
2x4. You know, there was a lot of mob action in this episode.
Absolutely.
Disturbing mob action.
Just a bit.
But maybe it's the times we live in.
Possibly. But in case you haven't guessed, we are talking about spoiler-filled discussion of Burn the Witch, season 3, episode 2 of Gotham. I just couldn't get the Queens of the Stone Age song out of my head. The minute I heard Burn the Witch, I was singing it in my head the whole way through the episode.
Absolutely. And given that Danny Cannon was involved in this episode, directing and so on, that could be a distinct possibility. He does like his music.
He certainly does, definitely. But I think we should get into the second episode of the show. What do you think, John?
Absolutely.
About time. Welcome back, listeners. As always, good to have you on board. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can subscribe to us over at our website at gothamtvpodcast.com. There's loads of subscribe links there. Or if you use any podcast catcher, just search for Gotham TV Podcast. But I think it's good to get into our top 5 case points for this episode. We have changed it up. If you didn't listen to our first episode of the season, we have changed up the way we cover the episodes. We are talking about a top 5 between the two of us this time, rather than talk about 10 points about the episode with loads of crossover. So let's start off the way we always do, though, with a little bit of production notes about the episode. John already mentioned Danny Cannon has directed episode 2 as well as episode 1. But the episode was written by Ken Woodruff, again, one of the most prolific writers in Gotham. He pretty much gets all the introductions to some of the main characters. I think that's why he's got this episode with the big moment with Ivy Pepper, which we'll talk about later on. Because previously he directed Azrael, Mr. Freeze. He did Scarecrow in season 1 and Arkham.
He's done a lot.
So loads of introductions to characters so far. So a really good writer on the show. John, do you want to tell us what he gave us with the synopsis for the episode?
Sure. After the break-in to Wayne Manor, Bruce is brought before the leader of the Court of Owls, a woman named Catherine, whom he recognizes from various Wayne functions. In exchange for the lives of those closest to him, a deal is struck, and he is ordered to cease his investigations into the Court of Owls, Wayne Enterprises, Indian Hill, and the deaths of his parents, to which he obliges. Elsewhere in Gotham, in order to heal herself, Fish captures Bullock and uses her powers to make him lead her to the secret facility holding Hugo Strange. Gordon makes a deal with Fish to help her escape with Strange if she hands over Harvey after the secret laboratory is surrounded by Penguin and his mob. Gordon informs Penguin of her escape route, however, and Penguin prepares to kill her. But when she reveals that she let him live because he was her greatest creation, he lets her go. The mob breaks into the facility and kills some of Fisher's monsters. Valerie visits Gordon about this deal with Fish, and they share a kiss just as Lee returns to Gotham. Elsewhere, Ivy washes ashore as a grown woman and begins her affinity with plants. As Bruce and Alfred talk about the ordeal and possible dancing lessons, another, far more recognizable person breaks into Wayne Manor.
They really do need a good alarm on Wayne Manor, don't they?
Those windows are a security hazard, and quite frankly, Alfred should have recognized this by now. I mean, I would have bricked them up.
I know. Like, Selina's been in that room about 15 times. She just walks in the window anytime Bruce is in there studying. We've got the Talon last week, and now Doppelganger Bruce. Brucelganger, I guess you might call him.
And that room behind the fireplace, that's their panic room.
I mean,
the proto Batcave is being seriously underused here. It really is. You could have a bar, coffee making facilities, nice comfy beds, the steel box, the panic button, direct line through to GCPD.
I do think with Alfred it would at least be tea making facilities, wouldn't it? And maybe scone making facilities, since he's a Londoner.
Absolutely. Whatever tipple takes your fancy. But those windows are absolutely security hazard at this stage.
But let's keep on the theme of Bruce for our first point of the episode, our first case note. Really has to be Bruce and the Owls, doesn't it? This is something we've been waiting for since episode 1, really, right?
Yeah. This was a huge surprise to me that he came face to face with the owl. Let's face it, it was a owl, with her talon. And,
still not confirmed on the name on the show, of course. We are aware of that.
Absolutely.
But
it must be talon. It must be the Court of Owls. It was one of however many owls there are. I was really surprised that happened, that they came face to face, but more importantly, I think that then Catherine was revealed, that she took off her mask and it was laid bare. And I mean, we have clever little Brucey here, really calling the bluff, getting his moment to do the deal, do the bargain with the Court of Owls. But this was like a huge little revelation straight off the bat of the episode. That's pretty gutsy, I think. Absolutely. And I do think it worked for this episode, but it will be interesting just to see how this organization now is dealt with in the rest of the season.
Or will it be? Yeah.
Or will it be? Yeah.
It's
maybe
kind of
it just it's kind of helps just to sideline them. Maybe they aren't the big bad in this season, and will be again that that slow brew, like a good pot of tea, over the course of season 3, and into season 4. Maybe this is the long game bad guys here.
Yeah.
And by long game, I mean, long game.
This could go right the way up into Batman. Like, we know Bruce will never forget the death of his parents. We know he'll never forgive the people who caused the death of his parents. So it was quite interesting to see that he made this deal with them. And, did repeat to Alfred that he has made the deal and he's willing to stick by it. So hence why Alfred did suggest the dancing lessons to take up some time for Master Bruce.
Yeah, but I mean, I do like the fact that, Alfred makes the point of how do you know that they will stick to the bargain.
Absolutely.
So there is a way out there. Absolutely. And I mean, I actually, after that, I thought he was also going to suggest that doesn't mean that I can't investigate your parents' murder.
Yeah.
So that he could be playing around with the bargain that Bruce has struck here. So I really like that. And I mean, that final scene with the dancing lessons and the twirl of Alfred. I mean,
Sean Pertwee.
Absolutely spot on. Fantastic.
I'm presuming we're going to get a Dancing with the Stars cameo or a what's the British one again? The ballroom dancing one?
The dance
Can't remember.
Strictly Come Dancing. That's it. Yeah. It's Alfred doing his Strictly Come Dancing. But I think
the voiceover for MasterChef does Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely. And I mean, he'll look great in, a smart, top and tail.
Yes, he will. Yeah,
he really will. And the bow tie. It'd be really good. But I reckon he could probably rock sequins, to be honest.
Yeah.
He has.
I wouldn't tell him he couldn't wear it.
He's dressed up in drag before, So, he certainly could. But I thought that this was a great little scene between Alfred and Bruce. It felt really natural. I suspect that maybe David Mazouz was not acting as much as he normally does at the moment he's laughing because of Alfred talking about dancing lessons and doing the pirouette. I do think that, I mean, to me, it just looks so natural. It looked like they were having really good fun doing that scene, because of Alfred's pirouette. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And of course, then we have leaky windows and lo and behold, there's the doppelganger.
It's the Brucelganger is back. Yes. Yeah, with his long hair coming in, going, "Don't hurt me," which is really interesting because a lot of people were thinking at the end of last season, I think including us, that when we saw him, this was going to be evil Bruce, the parallel universe Bruce, he was going to be a bad guy. In fact, I think we said at the end of last episode that he was going to turn up at the mansion. And that he was going to possibly take Bruce's place. But
yeah. This is one of our theories that has gone absolutely arseways right off the bat. Exactly. Like, we kind of thought that Bruce was going to get locked down, put into a cell, probably taken out of the equation of maybe the first half of this season.
Yeah.
The doppelganger would turn up at some point, maybe not quite this soon, but maybe time would move forward a bit, and it would be, 5 weeks later, he's got his long hair, and all that, and Alfred or someone thinks that it's Bruce Wayne. Right. He's been found, and they've cut his hair before Alfred's got there, or something like that, and he's now into the role of Bruce Wayne. That was always his, that was his objective, that was his kind of mission, and he knew that, and that's what he was trying to do. But of course, absolutely blown out of the water. Instead, he is like happy goth, goth Bruce.
Happy sad goth.
Happy sad goth Bruce, loves him, The Cure, all that kind of stuff, probably. So, it'll be again, it's another little interesting turn and twist and turn here that I wasn't expecting. Yeah. I didn't think that they were going to come face to face, but they really need to dye his hair blonde so that they know which is which.
I know what you mean.
If they cut it. They cut it, they need to dye it ginger, blonde, green.
An interesting idea. But yeah, it's interesting. Is there any theories? There's loads of theories out there as to who the character is. I think we talked about some of them before, but obviously, is this a long lost brother? Is it a clone? Is it his twin that got taken into Arkham before his parents died, kind of thing, and Bruce just doesn't know about him? Loads of theories out there. I'm not too sure. I think we've already had a theory that didn't pay off. So, I'm really interested to see how this goes and how it plays out. How do you write out a character that Bruce knows about now? That's going to be quite interesting. You'll have to keep him on board for a while. Davin Mazouz is going to have a lot of work ahead of him this season, I think.
I hope so. And I mean, I think at San Diego Comic-Con, he did talk about playing two roles, the Bruce Wayne and then the alternative Bruce Wayne. And that, that was a great acting challenge. And I think from how he described it, from what he was talking about at San Diego Comic-Con, that it really is, it's alternative, happy, sad goth Bruce is going to be there for a good while. And I hope so, because it's a really interesting storyline. Yeah. And now that they've brought them together, it's kind of going completely against how, I thought it would pan out. I thought this was going to be, the Trojan horse type of thing,
Or the Prince and the Pauper type of thing.
Exactly.
He replaced him in the big
Man
house.
in the Iron Mask type of thing.
And I must admit, when I heard the line from Catherine, the Court of Owls lady, who goes, so all those things that you've been investigating for the last 2 seasons, right, we want you to stop all those. And Bruce goes, okay. I was kind of thinking, is he going off to college and they're just going to write him out of the show? He's got no more storylines left. And in comes Bruce Ganger. So yeah. And this might be, obviously is the catalyst that basically says, damn our deal to hell, kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. So really good first point. Our second case point. Where are we going? I think it's time for Ivy.
I think it's grown up Ivy. Yeah. Booberella arrives
I did make
on
that
the
comment.
show.
Yes, I did make that comment when I saw her. Yes, a grown up Ivy does definitely change the dynamic that was there.
And certainly with Dead Man's ex-wife's clothes.
Yes.
She certainly picked the green revealing number, I think.
It could have been the only green dress in there. But let's go right back to our first moment when she reveals herself as she arrives on the ocean side, I guess. Yeah,
spewed from the sewers of Gotham and onto sort of this rocky beach. Yeah,
I really liked, obviously they kept the costume, cause that's what Ivy Pepper was wearing when she fell into the sewers at the end of episode 1. I love the idea that it had a little bit of seaweed in her hair that did look like Ivy.
It did, yeah, it definitely did. Again, I think we said this in the last episode, it just worked so well being incorporated into the story as it was. And here then we see her, obviously, with the transformation, with the aging, the mind, the memory, is trying to catch up with what's happened, trying to process. So you see aspects of it starting to come back through this episode. You certainly see her using this new look, this newfound charm to deadly effect. Obviously, she's not too concerned about the plants when she's broken a pot over his head. She leaves it there. I thought it would have been nice if, given she killed him because he didn't look after the plants, that after breaking the plant over his head, she might pick it up and say, just take it away with her so that she could repot it and keep it alive.
Well, I have to say, I know what you mean, but I do think the visual was great.
The visual was excellent.
The cracked pot over there, really cool. But
just saying.
I know. I think I really like this choice here. I was really worried because in my head, I'm looking at it going, this was Claire Foley last week, a 15-year-old girl. Yes, okay, she lived on the streets, but she's never been a street smart kid. She's never been a Selena Kyle. And what's happened here is she's met a guy, asked him for a drink. He's brought him back to her house.
Absolutely.
You can tell by the fact that he offered her an alcoholic drink that he doesn't think that she's a kid. He doesn't know she's a kid. He starts asking her questions like, do you have anybody to call? She says, nobody's looking after me. My mom's left. My dad's
got
dead.
shot. Yeah.
So she tells him all this stuff. And the whole time I was watching it going, this is probably not a good idea to a stranger you've never met. Take care of yourself. But they turn that story on its head. And she's actually the one that he should have been afraid of bringing into his home. Nice touch there from Gotham.
Absolutely. Really good storytelling. I mean, I'm still going to say I'm going to miss Scruffy Ivy Pepper. I'm going to miss Claire Foley's interpretation of her. I'm going to miss her with Selena Kyle in that sense. But I'm really interested to see how new Ivy Pepper interacts with Selena Kyle. Mm-hmm. Will it be a case of she won't recognize Selena Kyle? Will Selena Kyle recognize her? Because she has changed, and now with the new look, certainly she's unrecognizable to the old Ivy Pepper.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see these two meet up and to see that dynamic and how they bounce off one another, if indeed they do, or whether, there is some kind of, tension between the two.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to see, I think.
And do you know what? This is Gotham. If we have a guy like Marv that ages people, we could have another character that de-ages people, and we may see Claire Foley back in the future. You actually never know with this show. Although that could turn into Gotham Babies, maybe, where they just de-age all the characters and they have them all hanging out in a kindergarten, maybe, but that probably won't happen. Anyway, yes, I did like the introduction to Maggie Hill's character. Really cool to see, a murderous Ivy, especially spurred on by the fact that this guy's not taking care of the plants in his home. Thought that was a nice
big
touch. John, where are we going next?
I think we are going Jim's Women.
I think so.
Jim is a bad gigolo.
He's terrible.
He's really, really bad.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I was thinking, is Valerie Vale looks very manipulative. Obviously that dynamic of manipulation is being completely hammered home here between her and Jim.
Yeah.
Does this kiss mean anything or nothing? That is the big question. However, the lips have been planted on those Jim Gordon reds, and it is, quite frankly, another chalk up for Jim here. He, is certainly a womanizer. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it so tragic, maybe cliche, I don't know, is the fact of the train rolling into Gotham Central Station, and lo and behold, there is Leslie coming off the 956 to Gotham, steam billowing around her feet. Great image. I love that sort of 1930s look to the train, it
looked the most like Batman the Animated Series. I think this show has ever gone to.
Excellent. I absolutely loved the look. I loved the feel of it, and I love the fact that it was, the woman's scorn, the woman who's found another man in this other place, has come just as Jim is planting his lips onto Valerie Vale's lips. So it'll be interesting to see the dynamic. But
remember, I must say, I was always on Ross's side and Friends. They were on a break. You know, she specifically broke up.
True.
He broke up with her. She left the city. He went out to bring her a bunch of flowers, looked in the window, and she seemed to be having a pretty good life with a new man. So Jim's in no danger here of being a cheater in this case.
No, I don't think so at all. I actually think that this kiss from Valerie Vale is pure manipulation. It's purely trying to get him at a low ebb, to be honest.
Right.
I could be wrong.
I think for the character of Valerie, she kind of points out the reason why she's attracted to Jim is because she just can't work him out. I think we've had that problem a couple of episodes throughout the seasons. We couldn't work out what Jim's motivation was either. But I kind of like the idea that she's now,
he's a dangerous man. He's a bounty hunter.
Everybody loves Boba Fett.
He's played her as well in terms of cuffing her to the side of the car. She has played him. There's a game of chess being played between the two of them.
Yeah.
And, the White Knight and the Black Queen have just had it off on the chessboard. That's what's happening here. However,
almost a chess analogy there.
Absolutely. However, one of the things I think here where Jim was not going to kiss someone was in, again, this fabulous little scene in the Sirens bar with Babs.
Yes, we did say this point was called Jim's Women. All three of his women feature in this episode, and Barbara Keane just steps up to bat and she beats the ball out of the way with this great
scene. Great scene. First of all, it's just, I will tell you where Selena is if you give me a kiss. You just see Jim's face and heart sink at this request. But in the end, she's playing him and, she gives up the information willingly and you kind of think, oh, Babs, she's great. And then she comes in with this, I had a dream the other night about you, Jim. You'd lost both your legs and I was pushing you around in a baby carriage.
Fantastic.
The image is priceless.
Yes.
The image is priceless.
Absolutely. I also love that little moment between the two of them where Valerie's kind of recounting the story of Barbara, didn't you attack Leslie and Jim at their wedding and didn't you end off in Arkham? And she goes, well, yeah, but I'm out and I got a certificate saying I'm sane. And Jim's response to it is, yeah, signed by Hugo Strange. Yeah. He still doesn't believe this woman is insane and he's totally right. She is absolutely insane. I love the idea here of bringing these two characters back together again. They've got such great interplay together, as the seasons have gone on. Aaron Richards just does a great job with Babs.
Absolutely. I think Jim's ladies that he either knowingly or unknowingly surrounds himself with,
the crazies.
And who, to be honest, whether he's much of a gentleman or whether he's a gigolo to them or whatever, the complex interaction between him and the ladies of Gotham is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's actually really good and none more so than Jim and Babs.
Definitely.
I can see this now, really, we thought it was complicated with 2 in season 2. We had Leslie and we had Barbara. Season 3, he's got 3. Will season 4 hold 4?
I can't wait for season 10.
Yeah, season 10 will be
the harem.
The harem of Jim Gordon.
Yes.
Another theory, presumably, will be dashed.
You never know.
Yeah, but it's a good one. It's a funny one.
I think it's time to move on from point number 3 on to point 4. The secret mansion of Hugo Strange.
Or the not so secret mansion by the end of it. I mean, for a secret top level facility with a secret research laboratory that only the government knows about, we had the police turn up that shouldn't have known about it. So, Captain Barnes could be in a bit of trouble here.
Yep.
Then the press.
Yes.
Finally, followed by the Penguin and the people.
Yeah.
And the mob people. They're not very nice people with their pitchforks, baseball bats, and crowbars. It's no longer a secret facility.
It certainly isn't. No.
But it was pretty cool because we got Hugo Strange. I am so glad he is back.
BD Wong is back on the screen.
You know, interesting to see how much of a part he plays in this season. Maybe it's just for the first half, or maybe he will continue throughout the season. But BD Wong as Hugo Strange was one of my favorite aspects of season 2. And I am so glad that, you know, he hasn't just been, he's in a safe house somewhere and we don't see him.
Yeah.
We've got him, or Fish has got him now, and I really want to see what happens here because he can cause so much trouble. And it's good trouble with Hugo Strange.
Like, she wants an army now. Fish wants an army from him. He's already said he can't cure. He would have done it if he could, but she is not going to let him away with it. She was going to try and get Hugo to do everything he can to let her keep these powers and create the army, you know? Yeah, I thought this was really, really good, though.
Absolutely. Really good to see him back. Really good to see that whole hostage scene actually was superb. You know, that Harvey's taken, again, we have Captain Barnes probably absolutely probably in episode 3 it's going to happen. He's going to rue the fact that he took Jim Gordon along.
100%.
You know, but I love the fact that Harvey's picked up here. You know, all stemming from, being the GCPD being tipped off about, where Fish is. She escapes. You know, we see some really cool monsters in that bank scene with Fish, but it ultimately leads to this hostage situation because she's kidnapped, Harvey in order to find Hugo. You know, she's got him now, but I like the little, the double cross and triple cross that Jim did here, you know, going in, saying to Fish that you can escape and then double crossing her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And effectively triple crossing, and double crossing whenever, Captain Barnes. I mean, poor Captain Barnes. I suspect he's going to lose it, actually.
But I think if Jim's plan had resolved itself the way he thought it was going to, Oswald killing Fish, that kind of would have been everything playing back into the hands of Barnes because Oswald let Fish go. It didn't work out. So everything's gone all wrong again. Yeah. But yeah, this scene, a really interesting scene, having the whole gang from Gotham turning up at the doorsteps of the secret mansion. And yeah, led to something that I just didn't really expect in the show. The burning of the bodies of Sid and the other monster was really not something I was expecting. I was pretty shocked.
I was like, I mean,
it's the name of the episode. Burn the Witch is the name of the episode.
I know, but I must say, I thought it was going to be Fish mooning. I thought she really was going to get her comeuppance here.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I didn't want that to be the case. And I'm so glad it wasn't.
No fried mackerel for you.
But ultimately, I was like going, hang on. I know this is Gotham. I know that it's Mad City. I know it's crazy, but the police are still there. And would they, I know it's a comic book show, but even in the comic books, I don't think the GCPD stand back whilst members of the public burn bodies.
Not usually.
Like, that is very extreme. It is quite extreme. Okay, I get why they're doing it, and I get the reference to, you know, the burning of witches, the ducking stool. You know, if they survive on the fire, well, then they're a witch, and if they don't, well, then they weren't, but, you know, damn, they're dead now. It's kind of, it's maybe a bit too over the top, but look, they've done it, and so, I mean, what do you do? I
think once again it did what Gotham does for me. Every time I watch it and I see a character in the show and I go, they're getting a lot of screen time. You've got this character Sid, who even gets a name, blonde-haired speedster.
And really
we're
cool.
We're in the DC universe here. So this is a speedster. This is someone like the Flash, basically, who's able to move around at speed.
Really cool character.
I was going on my phone. I was going on the internet trying to find out, who is Sid, the evil speedster? Is she a Flash villain? Oh, she's dead and now burnt on a fire, so you'll never see her again.
And weirdly doesn't use her secret power when confronted with an angry mob with pitchforks. I mean, quite frankly, now you see me, now you don't. That's the trick she's been doing with the police. Quite frankly, love, I would have done that when confronted with the angry mob. I don't know what she was doing. Because a really cool power. I would have loved to seen her persist through this season. Really cool power. Really good kind of sidekick with Fish Mooney now that effectively Selena probably isn't going to be a member of her gang because of what happened with Ivy Pepper.
Yeah.
So, it would have just been really nice to have had her and Darth Vader, female Darth Vader, both with Fish Mooney.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure why Fish Mooney said keep them at bay when they could have just closed all the doors and so on. But yeah.
Fish was trying to get away, so it's
I don't understand why Sid didn't use her speedster powers when confronted with the angry mob.
I think it could have been the baseball bat. But anyway.
But she could have ducked it.
Maybe. Unfortunately, as I say, this is them putting a nail in the coffin of poor Sid. This is not a character we're going to see again, unfortunately.
Oh, well.
But on to our final point, and a short one, I think, but a great moment.
It's a great moment. Yeah, there were some really specific moments that were really well done, really stood out in this episode. I think we've mentioned Alfred and Bruce.
Yeah.
We've mentioned Babs and Jim.
Absolutely.
And here we have Fish and Oswald. And I was convinced that this was the end of Fish Mooney.
Definitely.
I really did. And to be honest, the fact that she had Hugo Strange, I was thinking, oh, and he's gonna go as well, potentially. Because I know there's no love lost there with Hugo Strange, with Oswald, given the bromance with Ed Nigma.
That's true.
So I was kind of thinking that two of my favorite characters from the show were going to get
bullet to the head.
Bullet to the head from Oswald. But instead what we got was a really kind of nice little touching sentiment. And it really married these three together about the creation of, the Prodigy and Hugo Strange's creations all kind of meshed in nicely to this little speech from Fish, really saying, you were my umbrella boy. You were my, foot massager.
Yeah.
And to see you turn into the king of Gotham, that is why I let you live, because to see what had come from my organization, what I had created, I couldn't eclipse that. And I mean, you see that in how she has that character trait. We've seen it in the cellar at, Dr. Dolmacher's, she rallies the troops. You see it with Butch and with the people in Fisher's Bar in season 1.
Yeah.
And you see it now with the monsters. Okay, maybe she's just thrown, Sid and, female Darth Vader to the mob.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's what she meant to do.
No.
It was just keep them at bay and then get out of there and we'll hook up somewhere later. But, she does have that kind of protective, if you're loyal to her, she is loyal to you. And that's always been a character trait. And I think the fact that he did push her off a building, I don't think she's holding that against him.
Yeah.
In a twisted, weird way. I think that no longer matters anymore because of what he's become.
True. It is a great scene, and a great speech from Fish Mooney to Oswald. And I did, even when he said the line, "Goodbye, Fish, I don't want to see you around here again," I still thought he was about to pull the trigger, and take her out.
Me too.
I thought she was making this final speech and that's it. So in all likelihood, this is another moment where Jada Pinkett Smith disappears from the show for 5 or 6 episodes and they come back with maybe a new army of monsters created by Hugo. So, it'll be interesting, but I did like this kind of wrapping up of that side of what's happening. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it could be she's in a desperate situation, desperate measures, that she just spouts that. I mean, I know I've just said she may have forgiven him, but maybe it is only paper thin.
Way out of a situation.
Yeah. Maybe it's only surface deep, that she has just bought herself life. She doesn't mean any of it. And she is going to come back. And when she does, she will target Penguin.
Yeah.
And that will be a nice little twist there, because to be honest, watching it, I took it at face value, but maybe she played the game.
Yeah, perhaps.
To secure her survival.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Absolutely. A great final point there for our top 5 of this episode. A couple of notes about the episode. My first one is the controlling of Harvey by Fish. It's really good to see these two characters together again. Remember, these two characters, the last they left each other in season 2 was a kiss from Harvey to her as she left Gotham for what he thought was the final time. And she does say it to Barnes on the phone. She says, even though I love Harvey, I'm willing to kill him if you don't come, right? So that was quite interesting to reiterate their relationship. I thought that was a nice little moment between the two of them.
Yeah. I have one note. I love the less conscientious Jim Gordon, where he turns to Harvey and goes, you need to tell Barnes something. I'm going home. Like, completely, like, Fish is still alive. Oh no, I've messed up here. I shouldn't have trusted Oswald. Is it alright, Harvey, if you tell Barnes this? I'm going home to get a whiskey. Really, again, it's another side of Jim that, you know, goes against what you would expect him to do. And it came across to me as really funny but really on point in his new bounty hunter role and his I couldn't care less kind of role. Like, he's really channeling that kind of noir PI type detective element, where it's like, I'm doing this for the money. Actually, you know, I've messed everything up. Yeah. I'm going home. This isn't my job.
This isn't my job. Yeah, exactly.
Really liked it.
You just tell him something. Yeah, really good. Speaking of which, I think it's time for our Bullockism of the week, John. If you didn't join us last week for our episode 1 of season 3, we did say that we have started off our Bullockism competition for the season. All we need you to do is send us an email to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com with your favorite Bullock moment of the week. The first prize in the pack is the Harvey Bullock Funko Pop. Our Bullockism of the week, weirdly, for an episode that featured Harvey Bullock, it was a pretty serious episode for him. It wasn't a huge amount of stuff said in this episode. My one for this week is clearly when Fish says goodbye to Harvey, says no hard feelings, and Harvey goes, screw you. Very Harvey moment. I don't know why Fish felt that everything that she did to Harvey, now that he's out of her control, would have gone unnoticed by our good old Harv.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of, I like the play on Strange, you know, where he goes to the two guards at the secret mansion. That's Strange. Sorry, Strange Weird, not the guy Strange. You know, good little play on what you expect Harvey to have that kind of fumble over saying that, being that kind of precise, overly precise about it. So yeah, that was a good little Bullockism as well.
Absolutely. So if you want to send in your Bullockisms of the week, each week you can email us to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com to be entered in our draw. Don't worry if we've already picked your Bullockism of the week. All you need to do is pop us in an email, tell us who you are, and we'll pop you into the draw. We're doing the draw about episode 11, we think, of season 3 of Gotham, to give away the prizes at that
Absolutely.
point.
I think wherever the first half of the season falls, we will do it there.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I think overall, this was another good, solid opening episode, and certainly quickly moves the story along. I think it had a few surprises for me in terms of the fact that Bruce came face to face with the Court of Owls, was also revealed to the Court of Owls, and they revealed themselves. I thought that was even more surprising. I think having Hugo Strange turn back up, again, the evolution of grown-up Ivy really working here as well.
Yeah.
And I just think some really good twists and turns. You know, Fish Mooney being serious when she talks to Oswald about, you know, being her creation, and that's why she didn't kill him. Or was it just simply for her to escape from being shot by Oswald? To what extent is, again, the doppelganger straight up? Is this an act, or is this, you know, going to flip the potential of what we thought was going to happen, that he would kind of take on the mantra and the role of Bruce Wayne, whilst Bruce Wayne was effectively rotting in a cell somewhere, held by the Court of Owls. That's not happening. So there's some real new threads and paths that have been laid by the writers here that certainly are nice little twists and turns and a little, a juggle of what maybe was the more obvious route to take. So that was really good. And I think that's why I think on par with the episode 1, I would give this 3.5 Jim Gordons in a baby carriage out of 5, to be honest.
I was certain it was going to be 3.5 burning bodies of monsters.
No. I mean, I think, again as well, just that relationship with Jim and Babs, really enjoyed that.
It elevates the episode.
It really does.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I think, maybe the burning of bodies was a step too far. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe it was for me. This was another really solid episode, for the start of Gotham. So really looking forward to episode 3.
Absolutely. That was definitely a mouth wide open moment for the episode.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks so much again for joining us this week for this episode of Gotham TV Podcast. We do have a little bit of feedback coming in from Daniel Butcher. Again, thank you so much for sending in your feedback. Once again, he started it with, don't read until you know what has happened in the episode. Daniel says, worst moment, did they really have Leslie walking in front of a green screen train? That was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1 bad special effects. Was there really not a random real train station she could walk at? I'm kind of in agreement. I thought that was a really weird thing.
It was total CGI awfulness, but I kind of liked it.
It wasn't even that. It almost felt like there was a drawing of a train that was left over from Batman, the animated series. That
it may well have been, but it was cool.
All right.
Trains are cool.
Okay. Daniel goes on to say, best moment, Penguin brought to you by Fish. I love the fact that she sees the power of her creation and can't destroy it. In short, Penguin is her legacy, and it was created from nothing. She loves him like a mother does, and she's totally coming back. Yeah, I totally agree with you. She's going to be back on board. And I wonder if Oswald is actually going to give her a bit more time a day next time he sees her because of that discussion they've had.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe a super villain hookup.
Maybe.
But the thing is, Ed would get jealous. He would get jealous. And he would constantly be whirring around in his head the notion that she's going to double cross him, even though he said, cut through the complexity, the Gordian knot analogy from episode 1. Mm-hmm. I think them getting together, being a team, whilst he's in Arkham, could really eat him up.
I think so.
But I suspect it's not going to happen anyway.
So you think there's going to be a Moonal pot in future?
That would be hilarious.
Finally, Daniel says, Jim is so unlikable. You remember when Harvey was unlikable? Well, Jim is worse than that guy. And I'm sorry, the Valerie Vale can't get out of my head from Grown Ups, which makes me think of her as a grown-up. Jim, Leslie, love triangle is so predictable, which totally took away points for not making us wait for Bruce Doppelganger. At this pace, Bruce will be taking on the Owls again in 2 episodes. You know what? I think the whole love triangle, a bit of a trope of the shows, but it's fun. It's fun, right?
I think it is, and certainly if he racks them up in line with each season, season 3, that would be hilariously great.
It would be really funny if there's 4 and 4 and 5 in season 5.
Like that would be that would make sense then. But I mean, it is a bit of a trope. I wonder whether with Valerie Vale's case, the fact that they have kind of been at loggerheads, I hope it maintains the fact that she's doing this to manipulate him rather than it being a serious thing. Because that would be and would make sense. Yeah. I would like to see this because in many cases, Jim has let Babs down. I know, and then she went off the rails. Absolutely. I get that.
A little mental.
He's kind of let Leslie down as well. In all these cases, he's been the one that's not been there for them and has maybe pushed them away in some way. And it would be good for him to get that medicine off Valerie. Yeah. And so I hope that Valerie's kiss is a manipulative snog, basically.
And I will say one point. I know this was the cliffhanger for Jim's storyline in this episode is, oh no, and Leslie's arriving back in town, but there's so much to her story that we don't know yet. You know, again, over 6 months have passed. She's with another guy. That's longer than she spent with Jim. If I have my timelines correct, I think it might be longer than she actually was Jim's partner. So, she's been out of town. She could be just walking back into town to pick up her wedding dress so that she can go get married to her new beau. You know, it may not be anything to do with following up with Jim and seeing where he is and what he's doing.
But knowing what you know, you were Leslie Tompkins, would you come into Gotham to get your wedding dress? Probably not.
You never know. She might have her wedding dress from the last time she was engaged.
Well, that's true.
You never know.
Family heirloom.
Well, thank you so much for that feedback, Agent Daniel. Really good to hear from you again. And thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel.
If you want to send in your feedback, you can always email us to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. Do remember, we do have the send voicemail button over on our website at gothamtvpodcast.com. Just click the button, record what you want to record, send it in to us, and we'll chat about it on the show and play it on the episode. So hear your voice on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also join us at our Facebook communities over at our page and group. Just go onto Facebook and search Gotham TV Podcast. Join the page, join the group, like the page, and of course, you're very welcome to leave discussions, comments, thoughts about Gotham season 3, any of the episodes
so far.
Absolutely come and join the community there. Yeah. And of course, remember, you can find us on gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes or search Gotham TV Podcast on any good podcast catcher.
Yep. And finally, over on our Twitter page at Gotham TV Podcast. Go search for us. Follow us over there. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with episode 3 of season 3 of Gotham as we get closer to the appearance of the Mad Hatter, I believe.
Absolutely. Can't wait for the Mad Hatter to arrive. One of my favourite characters, along with Enigma and Oswald Cobblepot. So, the trio of, badassery will be showing up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, thank you so much for listening. As always, a pleasure, and we'll speak with you next time.
Absolutely. John, will you tell the listeners something? I'm just gonna go.
Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.
Thanks for listening to Gotham TV Podcast, a TV podcast industries production. If you want to help out the podcast and you've enjoyed listening to us, there's some really easy ways to do it. If you can share our episodes through your social media channels like Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, or Google+, that gets some extra listeners into us. If you want to leave us a review on iTunes or a rating, just leave a 5-star rating, click the button, or go to iTunes through gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes. We'll take you straight to our page and leave us a review or a rating there. That always helps out independent podcasts. And also, as always, we love to hear your feedback about the show's interaction with our audience is what we really, really love. So you can send us feedback to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.